Yeah, I was a student. I was doing my bachelor's degree in social work, and I lived on campus in really lovely and supporting community. It was really nice. I just prepared for my classes, got ready for my exams, was drinking coffee at the cafes of Lviv. Lviv is a very beautiful city to live in. It has a lot of attractions, theaters, museums. And yeah, it was student life it was full life living in my country, feeling the youth kind of. Yeah, that's basically it. As I lived a bit far away from my family, I mostly spent my time with my friends. But yeah, I always visit my family once a week at least, because my town is very beautiful too. And I always wanted to spend the time with my family.
So when you say that you lived a little bit far, so you were in school,
yeah,
far away. So you were a resident in school.
Yeah, I was a resident in school.
Okay,
that's correct.
How was school life?
It was perfect. Yeah, it was perfect. I loved it.
Yeah,
and I didn't expect it to leave it so soon, actually. Yeah, but. That's basically
yeah, things happened. Were you ever worried about the possibility of a Russian invasion then? Were you ever worried about it?
I wouldn't say I was worried about it because in the community I lived in, it's a very conscious community. We, like students, young people, always talked about the political situation in the country, the military situation in the country, but it was very nobody believed in it, I would say. Nobody the people try not to notice it, because who wants to believe that your country will be in war soon? Yeah, but I clearly remember the couple of weeks before the invasion happened, we had, around the campus, we had signs put, the administration put signs of bomb shelter, where to go. And I was like, oh, it's just fun, probably. They're trying to give us some clues or something. But yeah, it wasn't the feeling that the war will be happening soon.
Yeah, you talked about how, the invasion. You were talking about it, and you never believed it, though. Were you ever first? When did you first learn of the Russian invasion itself? Is it from just your community, or is it from school?
The war is happening from 2014, and it was just happening in a small part of Ukraine. But full-scale invasion was more closer to me than the war that happened, that started in 2014, unfortunately, because I was really little then. How I learned about it? Just very easily. It was probably Thursday. I woke up because of the phone call to my roommate. Her mother called her and just shouted on the phone, "The war started, Julie, you need to go home right now." And she was really scared about what is happening and about her daughter. Yeah, after half an hour, the air raid started to go around the city. It should have been usual day here. I should have had classes. I should have gone. I just started my first job in my life, and it didn't happen because I needed to go back to my hometown and to be with my family that day. That's how I learned about the invasion. Yeah, but that day was really horrible because a lot of cars were leaving the city, as it is a big city, and the traffic was terrifying, actually. And people were just using different cars, different means of transport to go to safer places. Everybody was in shock. Nobody knew what to do. People just, it was like surviving mode, I would say, that day. And I clearly remember that in my memory, as I'm telling you this. As I said, it was kind of like surviving mode. We were running to the bomb shelters and back home, bomb shelter, back home, just trying to think of the possibilities, how to survive. And it was first couple of days. because nobody understood where it goes, where the missile goes, who can it hit, and we were volunteering a lot. I say we because it's a community. People try to stop it like right away, but it didn't happen. As you can see, the war is still going on. Day-to-day life, I don't know, it's just like we had backpacks always ready to go out of the house. They were like near the corridor because we had medication inside, all the passports, all the documents, just in case we need to leave our home. But later, like after 2 weeks, probably people started to understand that the war is like, we started to get the situation. When is the air raid? How is it happening? Where we started to get more means of information about the war, about where the air raids would be, where the missiles go, and started to get easier, and we started to breathe, kind of, Yeah, that was day-to-day life, probably. I would say I'm quite happy being here because the first priority is safety for me. I'm safe here as it can be. And Canada is a nice country and offers some opportunities that I would like to grab in the future.
Yeah.
My name is Arysia Boychuk, and I'm the president of the Ukrainian Canadian Congress, Alberta Provincial Council. We are an umbrella organization in Alberta that represent the voice of Ukrainians. When the war broke out, it was an immediate response by our organization to help support what was happening. And initially, we were on February 24th, 2022. We were at the Alberta legislature, and the government of Alberta had announced funding to help support the war. And sure enough, several hours later, they announced that the war actually broke out. So the full-scale invasion actually occurred several hours after receiving funds from the provincial government to help fight the war. The war has actually been going on since 2014, and it initially began in Crimea. And then what happened is a full-scale invasion. Russia completely invaded on the February 24, 2022. And our immediate response was to actually, people were coming to our office, they were phoning our office, and they wanted to help. And people wanted to give and donate, and so we quickly organized ourselves, and coordinated our first plane to leave out of Edmonton, out of Canada, to support Ukraine with emergency response equipment. As the war continued on, people began coming to Canada. They were fleeing and they were making their way to Canada. And we started shifting from gathering emergency response equipment, sending it to Ukraine to help support them. We started shifting to helping support those people coming into Alberta. And we began by immediately establishing a website to help support displaced people, to help them get the help that they needed. We could not handle the volume of the calls and the people coming into our office. So we began establishing some resources, and we established the website in both Ukrainian and English, where people could go to help themselves, and for people who wanted to donate and help support, they could turn to our website. So that was our very first immediate reaction in terms of starting to build the supports for Ukrainian newcomers. We then moved into people were coming to us and they're saying they have furniture, they want to help these people. And it was just random people coming in and saying, we hear what's going on and it's a very tragic event going on, we want to help. And everybody from all walks of life stepped up and were wanting to donate furniture, wanting to help support financially. So we quickly established a free furniture warehouse. The Boilermakers, Lodge 146, within the first 2 weeks of the war came to our office, offered us a donation, financial donation, and they offered us a space, 20,000 square feet of space. They said, if you ever need it, come see us. And so as people started coming in, a need began developing, and we began then to start creating this furniture warehouse. We asked community organizations to take this on, and people really wanted us to take that lead on it, and so we did. And for 2 years we operated free of charge, donated space, training space at the furniture warehouse, which is the training space of the Boilermakers, where we brought in over $8 million worth of furniture for displaced Ukrainians. We were able to receive donations from businesses all across Alberta. People brought furniture, helped replenish and keep it full so we could continue supporting the Ukrainian newcomers. It is a very special program. It was very limited with resources and supports. It's not a refugee program. And so people really had to, within 2 weeks, come in, get going. After about a year or so, we were able to get some support from the provincial government that helped bridge those who weren't able to make it and establish themselves in the first 2 weeks with an additional couple of weeks, which we're very grateful for. The provincial government also then began modifying some of the policies to be able to incorporate the displaced people so they could be successful and get to work right away. The challenges actually came from because the policy was not set up and there was no real pathways, clear pathways for newcomers to arrive. It really was on the backs of the community to actually to manage. There's no way that the Ukrainian newcomers would have been able to manage without the goodwill and the human kindness of people, and people of all walks of life. And it meant people coming together. When a family came into a community, families canvassed the community for furniture, for supports, for anything that they could, for employment to help people move along. Like I said, the pathways, the policies, there were barriers every step of the way. There really was there was nothing really available other than a few $1,000s for these people to come and get themselves going. There was no financial assistance, and it took a year of advocacy. It took a year of meeting regularly, weekly with the government, explaining and expressing the needs of the community, and requesting that policy changes be made to incorporate this special travel visa that these people are on. The intention of the travel visa is that people were coming, for temporarily, because it was anticipated the war would quickly end and that it would not last for a long time, and people would return home. And people do want to return home. There are people who do want to, but they can't, unfortunately, because the war continues. It still continues to be quite active and aggressive. And so we are requiring to continue to work and meet those special needs. We continue to work with the federal and provincial government ensuring that the supports continue on as long as the war continues. We have some significant gaps in terms of English language. Many people have arrived and they're displaced, and so it's really difficult to get going if you don't have access to learn the language. And because they're expected to get to work right away and find a place right away, they don't have the ability to really sit around and wait for a year or a year and a half for English classes to get going, or to find the employers, to connect with employers and to be able to find that employment. So we want to make sure that they continue to thrive and contribute to our community, to our economy, that they don't get left behind. And so we're doing everything possible to fill those gaps, really the humanitarian need gaps. We did that on the onset within the first year, where we provided, when there was no hotel, we provided emergency hotel rooms for them. When there was no food available, we responded by providing emergency food for those who needed it. And so we've continued to fill the gaps where the gaps are. We're kind of there working with the community and parallel trying to move this forward, because there's no one organization, there's no one community that can help support this. We do have, we're moving into more than 60,000 people have come to Alberta alone, and we expect that others will continue to come in, not at the volume we've seen, but to ensure that they have that step up to be successful, and to make sure that they are being able to contribute in a way that is meaningful to them, that they can pay their bills and also help support our economy and contribute to our community.
How did you first become involved in supporting the newcomers?
I first became involved supporting the newcomers shortly after Russia's invasion of Ukraine started in February of 2022. I remember watching the news headlines at that time and feeling very helpless and feeling very shocked that this was happening in the 21st century, that a sovereign country like Ukraine, a modern country like Ukraine, would be invaded by its neighbor. And I made some direct efforts to help newcomers to Canada at that time, because people were already by that time, by March or April of 22, there were already hundreds of thousands of people that were fleeing the war, and many were coming to Canada. So I made contact with a couple families that were new to Canada, and I offered my help to them to help to understand how things work in Canada, like how to get a health card, how to get a driver's license, how to work with rent, how to set up a bank account, all the basic things that we take for granted here. And so for the first 8-10 months, I was doing this directly by helping these people directly. When they had a specific request, I would go in and help them as best as I could.
Yeah, so you talked about, I know you talked about your grandmother coming from there and your grandparents,
yes.
and your grandparents as well. Was that your motivation of helping?
Yeah, the history of my mother's family with my grandmother and my grandfather is part of the motivation. When my grandmother and grandfather were in Ukraine, this was about 1928, and they were prosperous farmers. But at the time, Ukraine was in chaos. World War I was just ending. The Russian Revolution had just happened. Ukraine as a country was very unstable, and so my grandmother and grandfather, despite being relatively wealthy farmers, they left everything that they had and came to Canada just with one large suitcase.
Yeah.
And when they got to Alberta to begin farming, it was very difficult for them. They did not understand English. They did not understand Canadian culture. They did not understand how things worked here. And they were assisted by groups of Canadian people who volunteered their time to help these new Ukrainian people learn to adapt to life here. And that was 100 years ago. So that story stuck with me as an adult. So when the war started in Ukraine, I remembered these people that helped my family and helped them start their new life here in Canada, because if that had never happened, I wouldn't be here.
Fusing OMI, we have an amazing young lady, Irina, and we have continued to speaking with you on the journey of, coming from Ukraine to Canada. How was your welcome to Canada? Was it different? Can you describe the people that helped you? Did you guys have somebody to help you navigate through your stay here?
Yeah, as I was talking about that immigration in 90s, my family had friends that helped us here as they flew to Canada 20 years ago probably. And they were really helpful because they offered us a house to stay in for months, and they helped us with some documents here, with the support available from the government. Yeah, so I can say that we were here alone for sure. They took us from the airport at least. Of course, I'm still facing the challenges.
Well, you speak good English. I mean,
yeah, I would say that's the best part, that I can speak English probably, because from the things I hear, a lot of Ukrainians are not they don't know English as well as I do. I just feel like, I know English. No, that's not about it. But still, knowing English wasn't very helpful to me at first, actually.
Okay.
It's about the job opportunities here. I wasn't very welcome. No, like I said, I know English, please take me. I want to work.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't that easy. I struggled the most with finding a job, actually, and we couldn't find the job for almost 2 months. And it was very stressful because Canada is quite expensive country, I would say. But we did it too. We made it. What other struggles? The documents, a lot of this paperwork when you come here to Canada. I remember for the whole months, RCC things, here in Alberta things, health cards, benefit cards, all the other paperwork. Renting a house was one of the things I never did in my life. I'm only 20, but it was one of the things I helped my family to do. And you have very different system here, how to rent the house, how to pay for utilities and stuff like that. It was very, very different. Yeah, that's it. And I also had cultural shock because in Ukraine, a lot of people just Ukrainians, and hear a lot of different cultures.
Yeah.
I remember me coming to West Edmonton Mall the first time. I was in shock. Where am I? I don't understand. Where am I? Tell me. Please, is it Canada or is it what? Yeah.
Yeah, because you meet a lot of people from different communities, very diverse. Canada is very diverse, and Edmonton in particular is very diverse. We have people from Africa, people from Europe, and Asia, and everywhere. And what I like about Edmonton is that we do have what we call heritage days, where we actually see even see a lot of cultures displayed there. as well. So it's very nice to actually see and know other people's culture, kind of like, how they do it and stuff and like that. But since you're a young person, I wanted to delve down into, as a young person, how did it feel to be, I know you had some culture shock, but from the young person's perspective, the youth that you found here, is it different from Ukraine, and how is that different?
I would say that when I came here, I couldn't find any people around my age actually, and it was a bit like I need some people to know more. But for now, as I can see the situation, it's a bit different because first of all, people here study longer at high school than in Ukraine. Like I studied for 11 years, but here they study for 12 years. Mm-hmm. I know that changed in Ukraine now too, but so they go to universities when they are 20 plus. We go to universities when we are 16 plus. So it's different, like at least 4 years difference. And I would say young people here in Canada, they were less than in Ukraine, because in Ukraine you have a lot of social impacts, like till you're 20 you have to be really successful and have your business and the car and blah 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 and family like mm-hmm. But here it just feels like, from my own perspective, that even when you're 30 you're okay the way you are. Yeah, like even when you're 40 you're okay to be wearing fairy tale things or something, because you're just the person you are. Yeah, so that's how I found it. And but what I can say, my siblings go to school now, and it influences their perspective too. They're so, like, it's just 1 year that they are going to school, but they are so different now. Like
they're different from, because when you come from another country, myself too, when you just arrive to another country from another, your identity is diluted. Immediately as you get into another environment. I'm here with a lovely couple, Daryl and Tammy. Thank you so much for allowing us to come into your home and to speak about, everything that you have done, supported the Ukrainian community for the newcomers that have come and whatnot. How did it occur to you that you wanted to help when you heard about the first rumors of war, the Russian invasion to Ukraine, and then you decided, we're going to, when did you decide that, and how did it occur to you that you wanted to help?
We just kind of agreed we had to do something, and when we saw that we had the property was being underutilized, it just seemed natural that we would do this. We need to fill a niche that was not being served, and that's, I think, was kind of the model we were looking for.
And I kept watching the news every day and seeing the invasion happen, seeing thousands of people being hurt or displaced, and I felt very helpless. And so as the weeks went by, I started to reach out into the community.
Watching the evening news and seeing the terrible things, and we just said, we have to do something. What's within our power to do.
Yeah.
So people needed a safe place to live, and we have space, and so we were able to offer that because it's what we had.
And before that, of course, the government had come in to help. Did you start to helping them before the government opened up the program for newcomers, or was it the first?
I'm not sure of the
time
timing. I'm not sure of the timing, and we never really paid a lot of attention to the government programs per se. It was a need, and so I can't say that it was dependent on that.
Yes, and that's very good of you, and really we feel like just a very good heart that you have to actually just open up before even anybody gets.
Colleen and I were looking at a way how to support, because we do have Ukrainian roots. Colleen's 5th generation, so they've been here and they're very established in Canada. My parents live more recent, and we still have family back home and in Ukraine, and a lot of roots there. So, yeah, when the war broke out, we were looking at ways to support that.
There was a need.
Yeah.
There was a need. There was a human need, and we had the ability to help. So, that the quote from Emerson, "If there be some kindness I can show, let me do it." And it was something we could do.
Yeah.
We are fortunate to have this space, and we are fortunate to have the ability, right? So we just employed that, if you like. So,
Yeah, our family used to live here, and now that we're empty nesters, as Daryl said, we had this space.
It's just two of us in this place.
Oh, it's just the two of you, yes.
So
how many families did you help? Like, did you help just one family to live with you, or did you help, like, families came and gone and families,
easily over a dozen different combinations, if not more, of people, everything from singles to couples to families of 5, like just different combinations of groups of people.
I think we had 27 individuals.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was that experience?
All age ranges too. I mean, everything from she turned 7 when she was here to, so a good range of ages and different kind of family units. Yeah.
How was that experience to you?
Variable. It really depends on the people, and it really depends on how they're doing in terms of where they are in the
their
house
mental.
and where they are. Yeah. So how was that experience? I mean, we have a consistency in the fact that we share the kitchen, so there's that common thing.
Yes.
So the way everybody deals with that is sort of the variable, but I'm not sure I have an answer for how it is per se. It's you have other people in your home, and depending on how they are, that affects how the whole experience goes.
You are in the sense that I know you're good people. You open up your house. You've probably helped people before, right?
Yes.
Before even that, maybe even Canadians themselves that you've helped through your door. But particularly this experience of having people experiencing the war, and they have to flee and come and live in your home from a war zone to your house. How has that changed you?
There's a piece of me that wants to be really careful not to glorify it, and not to make it something that's bigger than it really is for us. And to other people who might be considering doing this, I don't want to create the impression that this is a life-changing thing. We have lived our lives, our principles, the reasons we are who we are foundationally not changed. We are who we are, and we were able to do this. So there's a piece of me that doesn't want to make this grand, because really we saw a need, we had the ability, we did it. Not such a big deal. We just did what we could, and that's really what it is.
And now, if I can ask Tammy, you told me that you have some connections to Ukraine. Was that something that you felt that I have to do this because I do have my people there, my blood is connected there, and this is happening to them? Was there something that that was in your heart to say, you know what, I have to help? You can help everybody for sure, but sometimes it feels like that, right?
I don't think that was the motivation. When there was the Syrian crisis before, when there was the nuclear disaster in Japan, we had Japanese people that lived with us. We've provided support not in our home, but when there was the crisis in Bosnia. So I don't think our family roots were the motivating factor. It happened to be an interesting connecting point.
Did you encounter, your own families or close friends that were like, "Are you doing this again?"
We get that a lot, but I wouldn't say that it was a challenge. Like our neighbors are very aware of the fact that we have been hosting Ukrainian evacuees here.
Yes.
And our neighbors have been very generous. And there have been times we've been out working in the garden and a truck pulled up, this was last summer, and said, "Are you the family that has Ukrainians living with you?" And we said yes. And they said, "I've got a microwave and some kitchen things. Can I give them to you?" We have no idea who that man was.
Wow.
And there are other neighbors that would say, "I hear you have a family. We have some grandchildren. Here's some of their toys. While your family is here, they're welcome to use these toys and just return them when they're done." So there's a lot of generosity that has come from the community.
So, to an extent, kind of a conduit in some ways when people are aware of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But to your question about challenges, I mean, there's challenges in every kind of relationship, right? So people are in your home, and sometimes it's a challenge, and sometimes it's not, right? And there's been a cycle now of people through, and we have gotten much better at what our expectations are. We have a translated set of, this is how the house works, and these are the rules, and here's the key, and locked in, like these things that are the expectation. And so I think the challenges have gotten lessened to a certain degree because we've become a lot better at being clear of what works for us and what works for them, and etc. So like in a practical way, it's become very practical, and that's good, because that, I think, works for everybody.
What are some of the experiences you've heard from them that they have told you what they went through in these cities around Ukraine?
Not a lot of conversation about that.
Well, no,
Not in my world.
Yeah, we don't probe a lot. We listen to what they have to share, and what they have to share is heartbreaking. And very different depending on whether they're coming from the western part of Ukraine, from the southern part, from the eastern part. Mm-hmm. If they've had to leave family members behind, we really try hard to respect their privacy and just listen to what they're prepared to share. But it's heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking.
And you hear that it's been difficult, and that it's up and down, and then some are very quiet. But when a family of 5 shows up and all of their belongings fit in the back of 2 vehicles, and plus the 5 of them, and there's 6 suitcases at the front door, and that's it. There's a definite sense of what has happened or not happened.
Yes. So you don't ask so many questions.
We don't probe.
And we've had more than one family of 5, and so their experiences have
Very
not
different.
been the same.
Very different people.
What has been the most rewarding thing that has happened with not just this particular situation in Ukraine, just in your lives, with from helping?
I think it's the elements of people looking around and saying, "I'd like to help, what can I do?" I have a microwave, can I give you a microwave? One woman said, I've cleaned up my cupboard, I've got these dishes I don't need. And another person came by and said, "Here's a $100 gift certificate for London Drugs. I've got nothing in my house that I can downsize anymore, but I can give them this. Can you please give them the gift card?" And so it's just, people are looking around to say, what can I possibly do? And then let me do that. If I can do it, why wouldn't I?
We had a family here who one of your sister's families got close to as well.
Yes.
So it sort of spread out, and so my in-laws were able to also provide support in different ways. And then we were over there, and that family and their little girl were there when we went to run a little errand, and we went over to our in-laws' place, and the mom and the dad and the little girl, and they were just happy to see us.
Wow.
And it was like a connection over time, over place, aside of the situation. It was just human, and it was there because of that relationship. And so at the end of the day, they're all different and all the relationships are different, and there's different levels of closeness, etc.
Yeah.
But it's just participating, right?
Yes.
It's really just, you know, where you can participate with people coming in and supporting and those things. So that would be one of my highlights, though.
What can you say about, you know, some of those situations, and you know, just encouragement to those people that want to help as well? What you do recommend?
I would say look around and think about what you have to offer, whether that's your time, whether that's your checkbook, whether that's some food in your pantry that you don't need.
Yes.
And if you can share it, then consider sharing it.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be a hero. This does not have to be changing the world. This is incrementally. We all put a little bit in the piggy bank, right?
Yes.
Incrementally, you do what you can. It doesn't necessarily have to change the world, but we can make this little difference. We can make this little change, and just do that. And don't look for reward. Like, I mean, it's just, I can do this little thing, so do it. So whether it's you know, helping somebody on the street with a sandwich, or, you know, we have some people come through the neighborhood who provide services and we're happy to pay them for that. You know, like whatever it is we can do.
And people, you know, somebody had a truck, and so they said, I can help you move some things.
Yeah.
You know, so they were able to employ what they had as an asset for the benefit of somebody else.
Yeah.
And just little things. As Daryl said, you don't have to be a hero. It can be just a little thing.
So we do work with the agencies, but they use us, you know, to support their programs where their funding falls apart. So I guess
I think a lot of the people come and there's some government funding initially that carries them through, and then it runs out and they haven't yet been established a permanent place to live or a job, and so they come and stay at our place, and that just buys them a little more time till they can get established and become more independent. But I think that, you know, being Canadian is being about being from other places, and I know the struggles my family had when they came here and becoming established. So I think that anything we can do to facilitate people and welcome them into their life here is a good way to invest your time.
Was that your motivation of helping?
Yeah.
To get involved?
really, you know,
How important the supports are for people when they get here. I mean, we can only provide so much. And the importance of having someone to mentor them as they go through job applications and finding housing, finding housing, finding jobs. Some of them contemplate going back, and some have gone back to Europe because it hasn't turned out to be quite what they had envisioned. Orts has done a lot of mentoring with the residents to get jobs. So you see where the cracks in our system, it kind of exposes the cracks in our system as well.
You know, they live through these traumas, right? And so you go through all these traumas, and then you come to Canada, and then you have to deal with the cultural changes, right? And so it keeps on moving, right? And so the problems they experienced in the first weeks are totally different than what they experienced 6 months later and up to a year later. So it's very hard for me to answer that question, because it's a continuum. It's these people are going through. It's not like, you know, you see them for 2 weeks and you move on. You know, so when they come in, they say, okay, this is my area, and you know, put their names on there, and then they can all connect also through that. You know, so they can see who's from kind of, oh, that's from my neighboring town, and they get to know each other a little bit better also.
As a 20-year-old, what are your expectations versus what I know? Like, you can compare, you know, where you were in Ukraine and here now.
Like, my life in Ukraine before war was very full. I already told you that. But here I expect it to be full too, because as I came here, I have to live here. I have to somehow build my life here. And about my expectations, I hope I can study. That's for sure. And I hope I can adjust to this society, because it's very different from where I used to be. Why it is different? Just the mentality of people, probably the way you Canadians live, and the culture is different. A lot of things are just not the same as in my home country, but I expect to be a part of this community, and I expect to understand Canada better, to see Canada, to visit all the places here. I've been only to Edmonton, some like other cities near Edmonton, but I would like to see other provinces too, because many people tell me, oh, Canada is really beautiful. I can see it, it's really beautiful. But I would like to see more of Canada when I'm here. But what did we do in Ukraine? I didn't do sports. I'm not a very sport person, but I did a lot. I walked a lot actually, because you have a lot of places to visit as a just person who lives in the city. Have a lot of cafes. You can sit with your friends and chat. What else did I do? I went to the libraries. For picnics. I'm thinking about summer activities as it's summer now, but during the winter you do sleighing. You know that? Yeah, sleighing. I hope that's the correct word. That's the best activity you can do. For like my childhood is all about this for winter. Okay. That's it basically.
Yeah. So how about the diverse cultures? Was Ukraine more diverse also than Canada is, or you find it more diverse here than Ukraine? And because I know you talked about this a little bit, like where you meet a lot of people that are coming from different countries, and how do you cope with that? Did you
Yeah, Canada is for sure more diverse because it unites all different people from different countries. Let's say it's an immigrant country. Ukraine is more just about the Ukrainian people who live there. Yeah, we have different nationalities for sure that come to Ukraine, but the main people that build the society are Ukrainians. Yeah, that's for sure. And what to say? How did I cope with that?
Especially when you first came,
Yeah, when I first came, I visited West Edmonton Mall. I think I told you before. I didn't think it was on camera, but when I visited West Edmonton Mall, I was in shock because I couldn't understand where I am. It was so diverse, and in West Edmonton Mall, you have a lot of people, and they're just walking like this around, like a chaos, and I was like, where am I? Stop it! But yeah, it's very easy to for now. My eyes are very used to it, and it's so all right to see people of different ages, different nationalities, different cultures. Yeah, that's so normal to me now, and I couldn't say that it was difficult to adjust to it. But yeah, you need to accept the difference of the cultures. For example, if you go to the swimming pool, some, let's say, Muslims or other religions who are more conservative, they swim in some swimsuits that cover all their bodies. Yeah, and you need to accept that.
Accept it, yes.
I was thinking how my country would feel if you go to the pool, when your body is covered fully. We don't have many situations like this.
Yeah.
I was trying, probably. Yeah, you will accept that for sure, but you will think, she's probably not from here, for sure. But here in Canada, it looks very normal and very accepted. That's nice because it makes Canada what it is. Actually.
Yeah, what it is, and it does make Canada what it is, as in accepting and embracing.
Yeah,
and that's the word.
Nice word.
Have you tried different foods as well?
While here in Canada, Actually, I haven't tried something very. I only tried the Korean food once in the restaurant here. It was something like tonkuksu. I don't know.
What?
It was called tonkuksu or ton. Oh, I'm not sure. Yeah, but it's like macaronis. It's like noodles with. Am I right? Oh, okay. He doesn't.
Well, I don't know that one.
Sorry.
Like noodles, or is it couscous?
No, it's like noodles with
I
soup.
think you mean tonkatsu?
Yeah.
That's Japanese.
It's
Oh.
Japanese.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's
You're
Japanese,
good.
but it was Korean restaurant.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know
probably.
why this.
Oh, okay.
All right,
I've
let's
never
say
tried
it
that
was
one.
so. I'm now aware that it was Japanese, and it was nice, but it was different because you have like noodles, you
Yeah.
have egg on top, and you have some weird things swimming in the soup. Yeah, but it was nice. I never
Yeah.
like, but you can for sure try it in Ukraine too. You
Yeah.
can. But I tried poutine. Yeah, it's poutine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't like it.
Okay.
It's weird. Yeah,
Yes.
but I would like to contribute in this way to somebody, to the group of people that are, yeah, as I said in the beginning, vulnerable. It's,
Yeah. Talking about mental health, so many people that you know in your community, Ukrainian community that came from, that are newcomers, and perhaps also pass through much more pain than yourself in terms of, maybe one-on-one with an invasion of Russia and all that, and they're here. What are you, because you are just really outgoing person, and you speak and you talk to people, and that helps you to heal from that. And we're not saying you're healed, but it's kind of healing. It's a healing process from such trauma and whatever. What are your recommendations to those Ukrainians, the newcomers that are here and going through such trauma, and and failing to actually come to terms with, should they stay here, should they go back? There are people like that you've met. You can probably explain to us how.
Like my first recommendation would be relax, because if you're not resting, your brain is full of a lot of things. I experienced it myself. It's very, very difficult. Your anxiety level is on top. Your sadness level is also on top. Your frustration level, everything is like taking reaching the highest mountains, and it's very, very difficult to understand what is happening around you. Because that's the first recommendation. Like, try to understand your surroundings, try to understand what is going on, who can support you, who can be with you in difficult moments. There are a lot of people that can help, actually. And like, I know it's very difficult here for those who don't know language, or because you need to understand, like, you need to speak to understand what is going around you, and it takes some time. I can't know how it is, because fortunately I knew English and I can speak it, but I think it's one of the reasons why people can't adjust fully here. It's not because learning language takes time, at least a year, let's say.
Yeah.
What else I would recommend? Yeah, that's probably
Networking, I guess, maybe. Really having to speak to a lot of people, right?
Yeah, like it's a good thing that you're saying this, because networking is important. If you don't have network, you won't be able to be here and find some job, find some opportunities for you. But sometimes you just lack resources. You really lack resources. Again, you're emotionally unstable, and you're like, goodness, I just want to lay down and stay in my bed for the whole day, and makes it more difficult. So my first advice is just to rest, because the rest is very important.
Yeah.
If you don't rest, your body won't allow you to do things.
Yeah.
It won't allow to think positively, won't allow to do physical activity and stuff like that. But yeah, networking, I would say it's important, because when you come here as a newcomer, you probably know, like, 5 people, like counting on my fingers, like those who helped you, picked you up from the airport, some organizations, and your English teacher, let's say, for example. And it takes time, but it will come.
Just before we go, what can you say to them, to hold on and,
To other people, to other Ukrainians that
are
abroad?
they are not in Ukraine.
Guys, we'll be okay. Like, we'll be okay, believe me, because we are really powerful. We are really powerful people who are those outside Ukraine. I would say because we can support. We support out from the outside, and we are the power that is not in the country. I mean, like, we can move the governments. We can say that we are still here. Let's hear us, please. Like, we still have war, and it's horrible because a lot of people, young people, die, and that makes me feel really sad about it. But I know that I have the power to do something. I can go to the meetings. I can donate money. I can talk to you, like Miriam, help it. Like, I can talk to people that, and like, if you
can
see,
render your voice.
It's just my voice that is very important outside of Ukraine, because if we were all close in Ukraine, who would tell other governments, who would tell other people that Ukraine is still in war? Guys, we need help, like, for sure. We need air defense. We need donations. We need a lot of weapons. Like, you see, I'm getting like very thrilled because
this is very close to your heart.
It's very close to my heart. And when I see that my home city is getting bombed again and again, you're like, stop it, please, stop. And it's not fair. Like, the world should be a better place for living. I understand. Like, I also understand that a lot of wars going on around the world, and we have these political things that happen, but like, keep eyes on Ukraine still. Like, it's 3 years, right? It's 3 years, almost 3 years, but it's still the same as in the first few weeks. And they're not stopping because that's the evil, like the pure evil that won't stop. And we have, like, you're from here, your dollar or two is very important, like, because we donate hryvnias, and hryvnias is like smaller, like, they're comparing to the dollars. And if you donate $1, it will be like a very strong thing to do. You can go to Save in Life Ukraine. It's like it's the charity foundation in Ukrainian, Повернись живим. You can go to their website. You can donate money. You can go to Serhiy Pritula Foundation. You can donate money. If you're willing, you can come and like, it's just my thoughts, because I want to say that Ukrainians are really gorgeous people. We are fighting for freedom. Like, we really do. And I really hope my country will be free as soon as it can be.
I'm hoping as well that it's going to be okay very soon. It's been wonderful speaking with you about the life in Ukraine and your gorgeous family. And we wish you all the best here in Canada. And we hope that you'll be able to go back one day just to visit, because we want you to be here.
Thank you.
And to contribute to the society. But we hope that one day you can go visit and see the people that you've left there, and just really, if Ukraine can be able to rebuild. And that's my last question. Do you think it will be able to maybe in the next few years here to start rebuilding?
I believe that my country will be free, will be thriving, and will get everything it can. And I think that as we're here, like, I'm here in Canada, some people are in Germany, and some people are in like Asia, all over the globe. Ukrainians are very united, and we will be helpful to our nation for sure. Like, I really believe that my culture will live, because it is worth living for sure.
Yes. Wow, thank you so much. And this is Yarina. Yarina, we are so happy to be able to speak with you. Again, this is from Tapis with Miriam Fusing, who am I? And I'm sure we'll meet up again someday.
Thank
you so
Miriam,
much
very
from
much.
us.